Okay, picture this. You're walking into one of those huge retail stores, right? You see the aisles, the displays, but what you might not realize is that every single inch of shelf space is basically a battlefield. Brands are fighting really hard just to get their products seen there. It's incredibly competitive. So today we're doing a deep dive into something fascinating that's popping up more and more in these stores. Bundled stationery products. It seems simple, but there's a lot going on. We're going to figure out why these bundles work so well for the brands and the stores, and maybe surprisingly, how they actually end up being a pretty good deal for you too.
Yeah, and the source material we're drawing from, it's a pretty focused business analysis, lots of solid data, real-world examples, and strategic thinking from people actually in the industry. It really gets into the why behind this whole trend.
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack what's really driving this strategy. What makes these bundles a win-win? We want to cut through the usual marketing talk and get to the core insights that matter.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. We see them everywhere now, these bundled stationery things. But what exactly are we talking about? What defines them?
That's a good place to start because, yeah, you are seeing them more.
Hmm.
Basically, a bundled stationery product is just a curated group of items that go together. So think notebooks, planners, pens, maybe some accessories like sticky notes or clips, all packaged up as one single thing you can buy.
Okay, makes sense.
And the analysis gives some great examples like a student kit, maybe. That could be a notebook, some sticky notes, a few highlighters, all bundled.
Right.
Or you might see a nicer gift set, maybe a planner with a fancy pen, perhaps a nice cover for it, all in a gift box, ready to go. Or even something like a productivity pack, a journal, maybe a habit tracker, bookmark, that kind of thing.
Got it. So complementary items sold as one unit. Precisely. And here's where it gets interesting from a business angle. According to Nielsen data mentioned in our source, these bundles can actually bump up the average amount someone spends by 12 to 20%.
Wow, that's significant.
It is. And at the same time, it often reduces the cost per item for everyone, the buyer, the retailer. It's this kind of efficiency win. It's not just convenience, it's actually driving profit.
Okay, 12 to 20% increase, lower cost per unit.
Yeah.
The business case is clear. But now, this is where I find it really interesting. Why do we buy them? As shoppers, what makes us pick up that bundle instead of just grabbing the notebook and pen separately?
Ah, yes, the consumer psychology. It's definitely not just random. There's some really strong reasons. Top of the list, it's the perceived value boost.
Meaning, we feel like we're getting a deal.
Exactly. Feel like you're getting more for less, even if the actual saving is, relatively modest. Maybe a set costs $24.99, and buying things individually would be $32. It just feels like a smart buy.
I can see that.
And then there's just the sheer convenience. Let's face it, sometimes you just don't want to spend time picking out the perfect pen to match the notebook, right?
Absolutely. Decision fatigue is real.
It really is. Bundles simplify things. They cut down on that shelf fatigue. You see one thing, one SDU, that's the barcode, the stock keeping unit. You grab it and you're done. Everything you need or think you need is right there.
Makes sense. And I guess that ties into gifting too.
Oh, absolutely. Especially for stationery. It's kind of perfect for gifts. The analysis actually cites an NRF stat from 2023. Over 68% of these bundles were bought as gifts during back to school and the holidays.
68%? That's huge.
It is. It makes sense, though, doesn't it? Someone else has done the curating work for you. It looks thoughtful. It's easy. And one last point, more from the brand side, inventory efficiency. Bundling can be a clever way to move, maybe slower selling items by pairing them with popular ones. Helps clear stock without big discounts.
Okay, so for us, it's value, convenience, great for gifts. Now let's switch perspectives. What about the big box stores? Why are they so keen on giving up precious shelf space for these bundles? What's their angle?
Well, for retailers, it's always this balancing act, right? They need products that sell quickly, they need to manage thousands of SKUs efficiently, and they need displays that grab attention. Bundles actually tick a lot of those boxes.
How so?
First, shelf impact. You get more apparent value packed into a smaller footprint, often with fewer individual SKUs to manage. It just looks bolder, more substantial on the shelf.
Visual appeal.
Yep. And it also allows for category expansion. They can introduce, say, a new type of pen or planner within a bundle without having to find separate shelf space for that single new item right away. It's a lower risk way to test new things.
Ah, smart, like a little Trojan horse for new products.
Sort of. And crucially, bundles often allow for higher blended margins. Because you're selling multiple items, there's more flexibility in pricing, maybe opportunities to upsell slightly within the bundle itself. And don't forget packaging, especially now, with sustainability being so important. Bundles, particularly those using like paper-based, plastic-free packaging, can actually help retailers meet their goals for reducing waste.
That's a big one these days.
Definitely. And there's data to back this up too. A Deloitte report from 2024 mentioned in the analysis found that 40% of big box buyers actually prioritize suppliers offering these value pack sets, especially for things like stationery, home goods, those consumable categories.
40% prioritize them. Okay, so retailers are actively looking for these, which makes me wonder. It can't just be about throwing random stuff together, can it? What actually makes a stationery bundle work? What are the best practices?
No, definitely not random. There's a real strategy behind the successful ones. Our source material lays out some key things. Number one, know your audience.
Target market.
Exactly. Are you aiming for students, busy professionals, maybe creative types? Or is it purely a gift item? The contents need to match their specific needs.
Makes sense. What else?
Bundle with purpose. The items should complement each other. Like we said, a journal, a tracker, a pen that flows. Just mixing unrelated stuff doesn't usually work as well. It needs to feel cohesive.
Right, it should tell a story almost.
Yeah, in a way. Then timing is key. Seasonal and promotional relevance. Think back to school, holidays, graduation, even smaller things like National Stationery Week. Tying bundles to these moments boosts their appeal.
Capitalizing on buying seasons.
Precisely. And packaging design is huge. It needs to look good, obviously, but also be functional, ideally eco-friendly. That plastic-free, paper-based packaging is a big plus now, and clearly shout about the value inside.
But packaging has to do a lot of work.
It really does. And finally, getting the price right. You need to balance offering a genuine perceived saving for the consumer, maybe that 10 to 20% range compared to buying separately, while still ensuring the margin works for the business. Consumers are smart, they know value.
So it's a careful calculation. Audience, purpose, timing, packaging, price.
That's the core recipe, yeah.
You mentioned it's not just ideas, but execution. And getting these things made, especially for huge retailers. What makes that part so complex? Is it just making the notebooks and pens? Or, oh, it's much more than just making the individual items. To deliver these bundles effectively at scale, you need some serious capabilities. We're talking specialized operations. Think about needing in-house design teams who can customize things, but also a global sourcing network, finding the right factories, maybe in China, Cambodia, Korea, wherever it makes sense for cost and quality.
Okay, so managing a global supply chain.
Right. And then assembly.
Right.
Coordinating, getting all the different parts, the notebook from here, the pen from there, the box from somewhere else, all brought together, assembled, and packaged correctly, often across multiple locations to meet deadlines. It's complex logistics.
Wow, yeah, I hadn't thought about the assembly part being so distributed.
And on top of that, there's the whole sustainability piece we touched on. Using FSC-certified paper, ensuring packaging is plastic-free. Retailers are increasingly demanding this.
So compliance is key. Absolutely. Sustainability, operational speed, you need fast turnarounds for promotions and quality control. The analysis mentions a whole list of certifications needed. ISO 9001 for quality management, BSCI for social compliance, safety standards like CA Prop 65 or CPSIA, FSC for materials.
Right, so a lot goes into ensuring they're made right and responsibly.
Exactly. It builds trust with the retailer and ultimately with you, the person buying it.
So if we pull all of this together, the consumer appeal, the retailer benefits, the complex production, what's the bottom line? What are the actual measurable results of this whole bundling strategy?
Well, the analysis makes it really clear this isn't just a nice little trend. It's a real growth strategy. The numbers are pretty compelling.
Okay, let's hear them.
We're talking about a documented plus 20% improvement in shelf efficiency, basically getting more value onto the same shelf space.
More bang for the buck, shelf-wise.
Exactly. Then a plus 4 to 7% uplift in actual retail conversion. More people actually buying the bundle when they see it.
So turning browsers into buyers more often.
Yep. And during peak gift-giving times, like the holidays. A plus 15 to 25% lift in sales, specifically attributed to these bundled products.
15 to 25%, that's a serious
It
boost.
absolutely is. These figures show it's a strategy that genuinely moves the needle on efficiency, conversion, and sales volume.
It really is fascinating. What we've seen today is that these bundled stationery products, they're way more than just convenient packaging. They're a really smart example of how understanding consumer psychology and retailer needs can lead to a strategy that, well, works for everyone.
It really does bridge that gap. And maybe here's something to think about next time you're in one of those big stores. Look beyond the stationery aisle. How often do you see this bundling approach used elsewhere? Beauty kits, maybe? Home essentials?
Yeah.
Snack boxes? Think about how that prepackaged convenience and value proposition might be influencing your choices even subtly in other parts of the store. It might change how you see value.